Hotep Senuhena Senut, Itiren Ishakandu Kemet. Still no sound. Oh, there's sound. Good. Sounds loud and clear. Hope you're doing well, brothers and sisters. Hey, we have brother Onk in the place to be. Um, we had a long live stream yesterday. It was 6 hours long. We got to talk about a few things. I really appreciate when there's a participation. Normally I don't really do live streams that long, but when the participation is there, then. So whoever wants to get on the panel, you have the link, the dialing or calling link, what I call the invite link. It's in the chat. Otherwise, if you don't want to show your face because it's a requirement, then feel free to use the chat. Okay. Now, I almost forgot, but there is a message that was left yesterday. And I say many times, usually it's the people who are anonymous and unidentified that say the weirdest things because there's no accountability. So let me share the screen. That's just the advert here. So that's yesterday's video. You see it has 300 views. Usually I don't have that many views, so it's just a good look. Maybe doing long live stream is a technique, because some people, they do like 8-hour live stream, 10-hour live streams. But anyway, we cannot see we can see one reply, but this individual, no content, usually it's like that, anonymous, unidentified, no content at all. He wrote, let me make it larger. He wrote, that's not African, that's Egyptian. Egypt is in North Africa, nothing to do with you. See, first he says, that's not African, that's Egyptian. And himself, he says that Egypt is in Africa, in the northern part. So, I'm not going to entertain that, you know what I'm saying? We do have Dayton Williams. Hello, how you doing? So let's take from where we left off. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I went through this artifact. Oh, that's it belongs to Hui. But if that word means younger or older, the younger. During the reign of Seti the First, 1200 BC, 19th dynasty made of limestone. And he says that Hui is looking towards let's say the outside of the tomb, and he is making a long prayer to the sun. And that's the other one. I told you there was another one. You can see the positions of the hands. So you don't need to go like this, brothers and sisters. You can just go like this. Uben FM Akti. Now, Reggie said that this was the word for east. Then we have net or netipet. It's a fire hostel. So most likely the fire will be at the top. I never knew such thing existed. Around 1300 BC, late 18th dynasty or beginning of the 19th dynasty, made of limestone. Oh, well, first look at the faces of these two individuals. You see that dark brown color. We don't normally see people with that dark brown color. So we have a bark. I don't think I ever seen that imagery before because we have what looks like a sun disk, and inside I cannot see what's on the head, and it looks like there's a beard. So I cannot tell which TT that is. And there is just the ankh. Many times you can see the ankh around their knee area. We have the ujat here. If I'm not mistaken, this is the glyph that is used for Chemes. Here we have dua. I was going to say ra, but it looks like the loaf of bread here, so it might be het f. Then we have I wonder what that would mean though. Then we have uben. We have uben. This might be the owl. Not sure, but I think it's the owl because earlier we had the same. We had uben m achet. Actually, earlier it was achti. So I presume this is the owl. At the bottom we have net pet. Then it looks like in. I don't know what that glyph is. I don't know what that word spells because it looks like two quail cheek. So then we have ur. Then we have pet most likely. That's definitely the pet glyph at the bottom. We just don't have the loaf of bread or the bread loaf. I'm gonna try to start saying bread loaf instead of loaf of bread. It's just shorter. It's just like it's shorter to say water wave. It's shorter than to say the ripple of water. Ripple of water. Water wave. So it's almost twice as short to say it like this. Now, just bear with me. My daughter, she's a troublemaker, and I have this necklace of I don't know if you will appear Africa and Ujat. That's it. Good to go now. So yeah, pet most likely. Then we have Duau. And this glyph here is the same as here. It's the man standing with his arms in a position of prayer or adoration. But anyway, I really got to try to go through the artifacts where the glyphs are clear because it might deter some people from learning the Medu nature. They might feel like, well, I'll never get it. It's too difficult. I cannot distinguish the glyphs. So Didi and his son Pendua, master carpenters, around 1300 to 1250 BC, from the village of Der El Medina, made of limestone. They are kneeling and they are offering a hymn to the sun, to the rising sun, and it's inscribed on the stela. And we have the reference here. So you see, once again, name, dates, and places. 1200 BC, that's 3,200 years old. All those other people who tell you about their school of thoughts and their belief system, have they ever shown you artifacts that old? Well, we have name, dates, and places. Isn't it a bit strange? Now, these glyphs here, they look lovely, very clear, very nice. So, km.t, وننفر Neptageser. Now the tar here is unusual. With that thing going up at the top, but I presume it's tar. Then we have well, I would say Necheru. And it's funny as well because I think that usually Necheru will have the mark of the pearl right after the Necher glyph. Now, the what looks like the basket with the handle on top of legs, that's what it looks like to me. I'm not familiar with that glyph. Then we have the M, and then at the bottom is damaged. So if we go back, we can about see the water wave there. So it's NKN. That's just a single stroke. And then we have sesh per hedge. Now the sesh, normally we have two small circles here. Basically, they are the holes where you will put the material used for the ink. Now there's this glyph once again that actually I've seen it quite sometimes. It looks like the elephant tusk to me. I don't know what that spells here. I mean, those two relief that would spell E, but here looks like a determinative of a man with the frere probably, and he looks like there's a sun disk on top of the head, but take that with caution. Then we have we have Sheri. Sheri. Familiar with the word Sherit, but and forgot if it means small. We have Ma'acheru, then we have Diore, D and Ek, and then we have happy. Now, you must have heard about happy. And we have the determinative of the water canal and the determinative of the three water waves. By itself, it spells mu, but here it's just a determinative. So there's no phonetic value here. The word is actually happy. And I will leave it there. Oh, we also have Shimon in the place to be. He wrote, "Salute, big brother." Thank you for coming, brothers. Now we don't really have sisters. I don't know why, but I guess um, I'm not the simping type, so I'm not chauvinist, I'm not misogynistic, but there's a lot of brothers who be simping, and they tell these ladies that they're all right no matter what they say because but every now and then we have sisters though, every now and then. But there's a lack of diplomacy in the so-called conscious community, so it's not surprising that we don't see many sisters because we have brothers without integrity. I mean, even when they are dead wrong and it's obvious, they still try to freestyle around it, and it's just a shame and it's a waste of time. But it is what it is. So I already did I go through that one already? Oh, that's a different one. It must be another side of the same artifact. Um, oh, it's lower. I see. Yeah, it's indeed the same artifact, but then we can see further down. Um, Now here we have Maat, here we have Dua Ek, then we have Usir, and then we have Wab. And the three water wave are determinative as well. Um, okay. That's probably Sobek. Now we see the man here with the position of adoration of prayer, and indeed, just like when it's painted, we see one arm further in the front, but once again, it's just to make sure that we get to see both arms. If from the side, the both arms are drawn the way the position is in reality, then we would get to only see one arm. Simple as that. Now here, it looks to me like Ut onk. Some might pronounce it head onk. It looks like we have that inner square, for lack of better words. Um, it's not much I can read from here, so I'll move on. I'll be surprised that this is a description for what we've seen earlier. But it looks like it is. They're mentioning a snake, but I see a crocodile. I don't see any snake. Let me see the one before. Okay. So we have Inpu standing in front of some offerings. And we have this individual. And apparently he's a priest, high priest or something like that. We have Hemnecher Tep or Tepi N. I don't know what this is. We have Nechet. Well, I think this is the glyph for min. Then we have Inek. That glyph right underneath the basket with the handle, I cannot tell what it is. Then we have the Met glyph and the phonetic complement of the bread loaf. Cannot tell what it says here. Here we have Nesut. Oh, is that Hemi? I don't even know that word. Now this looks like the bilingual hem to me. And then we have the double relief. Then we have En Necher Nefer. Then we have Wab, Ek, Hati, Ib or Ib-I, Nen. So there's the form of the negative. And Gere, well, not Gere, because I don't know what that glyph is. I think that's a small bird. I forgot what it's called, but there's that bird that appears for negative words, words that have a negative connotation. For example, the word bean, which means bad or evil. We have that bird. The word isefet also, we have that bird as a determinative, of course. So because we have the do not or not on, the negative basically, and then we have that word, and that word is probably something negative because once again, we do have that determinative. Then it looks like im f m. I cannot tell what this one is. Ara. Well, I don't know what that word is. Then we have raneb. Then we have ti, kher, nuiu. Nuiu might be the name, might be a given name. Then we have inejerek. I don't know what we have here, but it looks like tajeser here. Then we have onk or onkiu or onk, well. And then we have er, D, and then I'm not sure there with that individual. And Usir. Usir mean, probably a combination of Usir and Min. But we'll see that what the description says. And we have the word for rose at the bottom. Or whoop wout. Oh, well, you see, indeed, they're telling us this is Minak worshiping the dog god Upwawut around 1300 BC. He's making a hymn to Osir and Upwawut of the south, which is represented in the, I don't know how to translate that word in English yet. Um, yeah, I don't know how to translate that word in English. Now, Shimon wrote, I have not watched you for a while, so apologies if I'm asking something you already addressed. But can you make a video on how you actually decipher the meta nature? I'm not deciphering the meta nature. The meta nature kind of has been deciphered, but I really want to get something to drink. Just bear with me. I'll be right back. All right, I'm ready. This thirst that just came all of a sudden. I guess I was just so concentrated on the glyphs. But then when I laid when I laid my eyes off the glyphs, and that's when my brain registered. So don't worry about asking any question. That's not just for Shimon, but anybody else. When I'm live streaming, feel free to ask any question you have, even if it's not about the title, if it's not about the topic, you can address anything. Whether you agree or disagree, you can ask a question, make a statement. So it's nothing to worry about. But the Medu nature, I'm not deciphering it. I guess you might say, reading it or translating it. Now, I'm not really translating. I'm just reading. For those who want to know about translating or basically knowing the language, the grammar and the vocabulary, I'm giving classes for that. But I learned with books. That's how I learned. you know I learned with books, books about learning the meta nature. And I learned also a little bit by reading books about history in general. Every now and then the scholars will put some terms. So um, and also listening to people, listening to scholars, listening to their lectures or conferences, and you will hear some terms. And ultimately, when you learn the meta nature, then okay, oh, that's the word. Okay, I get it. See, first I never knew about Usira. I just knew Osiris. I just knew Isis. I just knew Horus. The more you learn, and the more you get familiar with the proper terms. You see. So, um, if I did not really answer the question, then feel free to rephrase. And Shimon wrote, like, how exactly do you know what the drawings mean? Um, well, one thing, the uniliterals. I'm going to share the screen. One of the link in the description, and let me double check that he's still there. Yes, in the description of my videos, the link before last says Medu. It leads you to my website, afrostudy.com/gardener. It's called like that because you have the hieroglyphs according to the classification of Sir Alan Gardiner. Uh, I have the book there. It's quite thick. I think it's maybe 800 or 700 pages, but it's really a classic. You know, often quoted, reliable, and Gardner had the idea of classifying the glyphs. So you have A, man in his occupation, B, woman in her occupation, and so on. And that's what sometimes you might hear me say, X1, you know, or yesterday I mentioned N41 and N42. But the the best way to start, uh, okay, by the way, see that website is okay. I'm going to share it in the chat. Gardiner Gardiner sign list. Of course, Gardiner didn't come up with the signs or the glyphs. Just had the idea of, oh snap, please, yeah, delete comment. I don't know if it will be deleted on Facebook. I want it to appear only on YouTube. So let me see if it's still in the chat. Yes, it is. Okay. So the best way to start, and I've been saying it for years, if you go at the bottom of this link, and that's the URL right there. AFROSTYLY.com/Gardiner. But you can find, the Gardner sign is in many different places online. A lot of time when you have a book about the Medu nature, they will include the Gardner sign list. But here we're interested with the uniliterals. And the uniliteral is the quote unquote Medu nature alphabet. What it means is that those are symbols, glyphs that stand for one sign, I'm sorry, one sound, hence one, uniliteral. Some people might call it, well, I don't know if they would say uniconsonant. They would say biconsonant. I like to say biliteral. But anyway, you have the glyphs and you have kind of the equivalent of our letters in red. Then in black, you have the transliteration. Um, and in green, you have the Gardner reference. So knowing these by heart is one of the greatest ways to start the Medu nature, because if you know those glyphs, you will be able to read some words and some names. But that's not all. We do also have biliterals, so glyphs that stand for two sounds, and we have triliterals. I'm sorry, glyphs that stands for three sounds. You see, so if anybody want to learn the Medu nature, just try to learn those by heart. Now the only thing you will not know is how some of those sounds are pronounced, and I don't know if I went through them before during the live stream. But those who take the classes, we take the time to go through them, but I can never recommend anything more often for new learners than to learn those glyphs by heart. I wish I knew that, if I knew, uh it would have been uh, my life way easier. So Shimon says that I answered his question perfectly. Datron Williams says wrote what right, and Shimon asked, do you think the peer-reviewed translation is accurate? Just your opinion, I would like to gather. I feel that the translation is very accurate indeed. And I'm aware we have some people who go to the extreme saying that the Medu nature has not been deciphered. To me, it's just laughable, you know. Um, there's not many people who say that. Honestly, there's not many people who say that. You know, there's one author that really put that idea out there amongst the conscious or so-called conscious community. Many people feel like he's a doctor because some people refer to him as a doctor, but once again, I never heard of him having any PhDs. But you know how uh, our people do, and so a lot of people think that he has some credentials, that he earned a doctorate degree from some field, and that what he says hold weight. And on top of that, he wrote a book about the historical origin of Christianity, and he basically says, and that's right from the book cover, that there's no man that ever walked the earth in any uh, race, color, or creed by the name of Jesus. So many of us used to be in Abrahamic religion, and when we have a book that allegedly breaks down, that Jesus never existed, it's kind of comforting for some, But then over 2 pages on that book that he wrote, I think, I forgot now if it's 92 or 98, but I think it's 92. Over 2 pages, he explained why he feels like the Medu nature has not been deciphered. Basically saying, well, we were not there when they made those symbols, so we don't know what they meant. As if we were there when people came up with the Hebrew symbols. As if we were there when people came up with the Arabic symbol. As if we were there when people came up with, the Phoenician symbols. So that's for those who go to the extreme. Then you have other people who say, well, okay, yeah, it's kind of deciphered, but, we don't really know. And I encourage people to look at the history of the Hebrew language, and they will see that it went through some reconstruction. So I think we should be fair. If we want to say the Meta Nature has not been deciphered or not been deciphered so well, we should say the same, at least for the Hebrew language. You know. So, oh, definitely, it is. I, I mean, in a sense, I'm familiar with the Meta Nature, so for me, there's no doubt. But I can understand that some people will feel like maybe it hasn't been deciphered because they don't know the language, and they might fail to realize that we have so many people around the world that have studied this writing, this language of the Meta Nature. This is a 200-year-old field. See, earlier there was a video about Mary Curie, female scientist, and she worked on radiation. Now, when did she work? New elements. The Rosetta Stone was found close to 100 years before Mary Curie, was working on those different things for which she earned some Nobel Prize. So people have been, studying this language for a very long time. Egyptology is an academic field. So we shouldn't have reasons to believe that it hasn't been deciphered or that it hasn't been translated accurately. Of course, there are some glyphs. Uh, we don't really know what they actually represent, even though we might know their phonetic value. And looking at the Rosetta Stone, seeing that we have the hieroglyphic and the Greek, it's not difficult. Then we also have the Coptic, which is the latest phase. But you have Gardner's reference. It goes from A to Z, or A to Z for the people in England, or Commonwealth countries. I think it's only in America that you pronounce it Z. And I digress. So then we have AA1, AA2, and so on and so on. So anything that's AA is kind of unclassified. They don't really exactly know what it is, you see. So, like this one here, some people say it's a sieve, some say it's a placenta, but that stands for the sound ch, like the Spanish jota or the Arabic that you hear, the sound that you hear in the name Khalid. And I know I said that a few times before, but it's nothing wrong with repeating yourself when you're stating facts. So yeah, the translation is fair. It's pretty accurate to me. Um, he wrote, "Thanks, you're welcome." Then he wrote another question: When you are done, why do people say the Meta Nature has not been translated? They kind of say it hasn't been deciphered. So in a sense, if it's not deciphered, you cannot really translate it. I mean, some people feel like all the scholars around the world, they come up with translation and they're just basically saying things that don't make any sense. Some made up stuff. And the same guy, Walter Williams, the main guy who claimed that the Medu Neter has not been deciphered, he greets by saying Maat Hotep. Why would you use Maat Hotep as a greeting if the Medu Neter has not been deciphered? And we have other people who have Kemetic names and they tell you that the Medu Neter has not been deciphered. Why do they have a Kemetic name? Do they even know what it means? They just chose a name like that for the sake of it, you know? So why do they say that it has not been deciphered? Who knows? Who knows? Uh, we have people who are flat earthers. They say that the earth is flat. The some is because they have they are from one of the Abrahamic religion, because somewhere don't know if it's in the Quran or the Hadith, but somewhere it kind of says that the earth is flat. So because of their religion, they want to hold on to that theory. Others is for other reason. They just have that belief. So you will think that all this cliche, all these pictures and videos that we have from space and we see the earth, we would think that it's an illusion. You know, some people feel like if you wear some stones around your neck, then you will bring you wealth. He will give you bring you luck. It will bring you money. Some people believe that candles can do that. Some people think that if you drink alkaline water, then you'll be healthy forever. It's a belief. People who say that the nature has not been deciphered, it's a belief. And if it hasn't been deciphered, once again, it means that all the Egyptologists in the world, all those people who studied all the way to the PhD, to the doctorate degree, it means that they're just all wrong. But we have 5 people or so who are correct. It's bold. It's kind of bold. So Shimon is asking who's the scholar you speak of, but and he wrote, would like to research his take on it as well. That's the problem with our people. But I said his name is Walter Williams, and the book is The Historical Origin of Christianity. You know, and he really just over 2 pages. That's not the topic. That's not the topic. It's because a lot of people, yeah, he broke it down. He broke down how it hasn't been deciphered. And I had discussion with people who believe in his thesis, and it was quite amusing because once the guy kept repeating, well, we were not there when it came up with those glyphs, so we don't know what they meant. You had to be there. And I asked him, do you know what the A means? Do you know what it represents? Were you there when the letter A, the symbol, the sign that stands for the letter A, were you there? And he didn't know what to respond. We were not there when it came up with the B, you know. But then again, there's other scripts, other languages. Nobody will say it hasn't been deciphered and so on. And the double standard, the example I usually give is the Hebrew. So it's just a shame, really. It's a shame that people put so much credit to that claim. And for the record, some people are not my best friends, have written a book refuting the claims of Walter Williams. And the book, I think, is called Has the Meta Nature Been Deciphered? A Rebuttal to Walter Williams. I haven't read that book. I don't need to. I know the Meta Nature. But when I see the amount of people who blindly follow what Walter Williams says, and I guess that book has a use. I guess that book is useful. And people used to love to say, well, why nobody refuted him, nobody refuted him. And Walter Williams is not somebody that's known for having debates. You know, he'll go on, on radio shows and stuff like that, and and he will just, answer questions. But I've never seen him debating anybody. Now apparently maybe he had a debate with the guys who wrote that book. I don't know if it was before the book was released or not. The book refuted him, the rebuttal to his claim. But at this point, some people it's just really difficult to listen to. I'm trying to keep my brain cells intact. You know, and I don't mean any disrespect towards Walter Williams, but his claim is just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And he's not the only one who claims that. Other people, claim that as well, and it's just a shame. It's really, really, really a shame. And don't get me wrong, people sometimes people underestimate the disdain that Abrahamic believers have towards Islam. And once again, there's a video on TikTok. The guy made a video entitled "The Greatest Enemies of Islam," the biggest enemies of Islam. Number one is Pharaoh. No name though. Pharaoh is a title. There's no name. We don't know which Pharaoh. You know, um, a lot of people say it hasn't been deciphered because they're trying to um, what's the word again? Not really vilify, but anything they can say that will not be positive towards Kemet or ancient Egypt, then they will go for it. So that's why some people say, well, your language hasn't even been deciphered. Because you see all the artifacts that I've been going through, so far that's just a Louvre museum. There's many artifacts in other museums around the world. But you go to those people, those Abrahamic believers, and tell them, show me the artifacts of your patriarchs. You will be able to hear a rat urinate on cotton. Definitely. They don't have much to show you. And we have artifacts way before those patriarchs came in. We have artifacts way before Abraham's lifetime. All right. Same people who believe that someone spent some days inside of a well, the same people tell the Medu has not been deciphered. It amazes me when people still say that. And not only he greets saying Maat Hotep, the book was released on the Maatian press. Why choosing Maatian? Now, on this artifact, now feel free if you have questions or comments. Now, that's the elephant tusk. That's the name Behedet. Here we have Nebpet. Here we have hmm, okay, I will use caution. I will leave that out. Here we have nTr R. Here we have the Was scepter. Then we have the J. Then we have the Ankh. Here we have DF Ankh Was Seneb. Um, Here we have Jedet. We have the Neb here, but it must go along some other glyphs that's placed somewhere else. We have some wings at the top. Here we have Jed Medu. Or is it Jet Medu in? But anyway, we have D and E and ek. The E doesn't appear. The sound E doesn't appear. Then we have onk, Jed. And I will look for some glyphs that we can. Well, the glyphs look nice, really. Here we have 21. Here we have kher and hem. Looks like hair. I forgot the sound, the phonetic value for this glyph here, and even the meaning. But we have ib, we have nesud bt, we have npt. I was distracted by an email. And if I go down, I'm sorry. This might be happy. I forgot about that kind of compass looking glyph. But we have Sa, then we have Usir, then we have Meri. This one I don't know. If you know that one, feel free to let me know. We have nTr, we have Her, M. That one I don't know. Kind of look like hotel, but it is not. But not to me. And underneath is damage. I'm gonna try to read it. And I will leave it there. I'll move to something else. So this is a stela. To commemorate the burial of the Apis bull that died in the reign during the reign of someone called Apries. Now this is late period, around 500 BC, and it comes from the Serapeum. I'm not sure if you pronounce it like that in English, of Saqqara. My goodness, I forgot that I had shared the screen. I went through all those glyphs. Let's see. Okay, that's the artifact that I was going through. That's the one there. But I'm not gonna go through it again. You know. Oh, they say it's a statue of Osiris Moon. That's how they called it. Late period. Um, Cube statue of Hui on 1200 to 1100 BC. Oh yeah, there was a comment actually. Um, Allez, va voir maman. 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 Vas-y, va voir maman. Allez, va voir maman. Va voir maman, Mero. Va voir maman. Merout, va voir maman, j'ai dit. All right, so Datron is asking, what's up with Mfudishi? I follow him. I think he gives a class. Do you? I was wondering. I've heard him a few times. I've seen him giving tools in different places, and indeed he's teaching Medu Nature. He's been teaching it for a while. He's a student of Rikeri Amen. I don't know him personally. We never communicated. You know. This is the god Apis with the body of a man and the head of a bull. That has to be Apis as well. Statuette of the bull Apis, dedicated by Iset Ir. So it's probably Aset Ir. Apis as well. That's a part of the Louvre Museum that's actually been um, kind of refurbishing the place, and it's been a very long time that we cannot access that area. And that's where you have actually we might see later on a mummified crocodile. You know, but you have that part where it's all about Apis. Oh, that looks very nice. Now here we have the sun disk, and we have some cobras, and we can see the ankhs hanging. We have beheaded once again. We have the ankh was. We have neb. Now this is high by itself. Usually we have the mark of the plural, so that becomes hau. But because we have three, then I will say that's hau. And here we have, what do we have here? I don't know if that's Maat. I don't know if that's a feather on top of the head. We have mer here. We have the word heb here. That looks at the quail cheek. Then we have the newt and the t. So I don't exactly know. Well, maybe it's not the quail cheek actually. Maybe it's not the quail cheek. Um, and here, and we have ib here. Now I don't. This looks like the Nedjem glyph, like the carob tree fruit. Rather for the cloth, this is Ra. Probably this is Ma'at. If that's the feather on the head. And here we have Setep N. So the name here is in two parts, just like we said Ma'at Ra Setep N Ra. Here we have Neb Tawi. Then here we have uh, it's funny, I forgot. Um, yeah, well, so it is Jed Medu. It doesn't look like it, but this is the walking stick. Then once again, D and E and Ek, the E doesn't appear, and then we have Ankh Neb Was Neb. You see, it's blurry because I moved too early after snapping the picture. But it says that this is the king Nectanebo. You can tell by the name that he's not an indigenous inhabitant of the land. Nectanebo II, facing the bull Apis, and that is around 1300 BC. So those are private steles from the Serapeum. Now you see, it's one of the rare occasions where we see an adult with this lock of hair from the side. It's typically a lock of hair that we will see on children, but it's not exclusive. Because looking at this individual, I don't think we will say it's a child. Besides, it looks like he's kind of hunting some animal here. You know, he's holding the animal, by the hair probably. And it looks like he has some sort of stick here. But anyway, it says the young god Ched, and it says the savior in in brackets. Now this is between 1200 and 800 BC. This is probably Isis breastfeeding hero, and indeed that's what it is. But that's late period. A lot of Jed and other glyphs. This is most likely an Asiatic in red, and this is most likely a Nubian in black. Yes, indeed. Well, it's actually a Nubian and a Syrio-Palestinian captive. So there was some conflict. That's another Nubian here. There was some conflict between uh, with what we call the Nubians because there's there were the Magi, the Magi's that were used kind of like mercenaries or people to make sure that some areas were safe. And there's a letter that was intercepted where an Asiatic, wrote to the Nubian, and the Asiatic said, let's team up and go against Kemet. So when that letter was intercepted, the people of Kemet kind of put a smackdown on both parties, you know. And there was another time where there was a boundary stele around Nubia, kind of like the border between the empire of ancient Egypt and Nubia, and it says something like, whoever crosses that area, you will get it. And there was some rebellion, and once those people, kind of crossed the boundary, uh, I think it's thought Moses, but there was an expedition, and if I'm not mistaken, it was. Let me double check, but I think it's Kerma that was kind of destroyed. Okay, let me go at the bottom here. I'm looking for a quote. Oh, I thought I made note of it. I'm surprised actually. Yeah, bear with me. There's no rush anyway. Yes, and it was not Thutmose. Yes, it was Thutmose the first that put an end to the kingdom of Kush by destroying the city of Kerma. So there was some conflict, we cannot deny. Um, Shimon has to go, and we have, well, I would have pronounced it Joser, but he spelled another way. He spelled like Dozer. Hotel to you. Hope you're doing well. Oh, it's been an hour already. Well, you know what? Um, I will go through this chronology, and I will stop going through the pictures because there's not much participation this evening, So, well, I said chronology, timeline. Let's say timeline. Okay, so this is ancient Egypt from 3800 to 30 BC. So yesterday you might have heard Reggie and I talking about Nagata. So this is Nagata 1. This is like a period. So around 13,800 to 3,500 BCE. Okay. So those are different artifacts that has been found for that from that period. Then you have Nagata 2 between 3,500 to 3,300 BC. Then you have Nagata 3 between 3,300 and 31 BC. Then you have the well, I don't know how you pronounce it in English, but uh, Thinite maybe uh, between 3,100 and 27 BC. So it starts with the first dynasty, and we have here Menes. Menes, that's Narmer. Okay. Um, Here we have Jet, also known as the Serpent King. We have Den, so that's 3000 BC. 2900 BC, we have the Second Dynasty. Here we have the Stela of the Ladies, Nitua and Nitneb. 2800 we have Hasekemui. 2700 BC, we have the Old Kingdom. Here we have the statues of Sepa and Nessa. I think those are actually located in the Louvre Museum. Um, so Old Kingdom between 2700 and 2200 BC. So here we have Djeser or Djoser. So that's the third dynasty. Fourth dynasty we have Senefru. Then 2600 we have Cheops or Khufu. We have Kefren or Kafra. Uh, well, Mykerinos is definitely Greek. So the pyramid of Giza, that's around 2600 BC. You know what I'm saying? This city scribe is located in the Louvre Museum, but it's a bit of an enigma to me because it really doesn't have any African phenotype. You know, it kind of looks like an Asiatic. Those statues, I'm not sure if they are in the Louvre Museum, but we have the Fifth Dynasty. Then 2400 BC, we have the pyramid text of Unas or Unis. Okay, so this is an excerpt from the pyramid text. So that's the sixth dynasty. We have Theti the first. We have Pepi the first. You know, they also have some pyramid text. Then we have Pepi the second, 2300. 2200, the first intermediate period. The country kind of was kind of it was no longer unified. You had independent I don't want to say kingdoms, but you know, rulers or rulership. Around 2100 we have Amentuhotep the first. 2000 BC, the Middle Kingdom. The monarchy was restored, and it's the classical age. So we have Amentuhotep the second, then we have Amenemhat the first, Sesostris or Senusret the first. 1600 BC, we have Kamos. Actually, it's a shame because I don't really have it there, but uh, we have the second intermediary period with the Hyksos, and then from Amos or Amosis, as the Greeks call it, we have the 18th dynasty. So then we have Amenhotep the first, Hatshepsut, Thutmose the third. We can see Hatshepsut's temple here, very famous, very nice looking. Then we have Amenhotep III, one of the most powerful, sorry about the nose, one of the most powerful pharaoh ever. We have his son Akhenaten, then his grandson Tutankhamen. Then we have Horemheb, who took over the royalty, but he was initially a general. He was in the army, if I'm not mistaken. And then, you know, here, about 700 BC, we have Tohaka. This artifact there of Tohaka facing the falcon is located in the Louvre Museum. As a matter of fact, many of the artifacts that we see here, they are actually in the Louvre Museum, particularly those that appear at the top. Like this one here is one of the most famous set of statue where you have Horus in the middle, and then you have Isis and Osiris. And it's very small, but a lot of time the picture is like blown up. So a lot of people might think it's large statue, but it's extremely small. It's about that small. So yes, then the late period, starting from about 600 BC. Um, but we have the Persian occupation. That's really around 600 BC that, the indigenous Africans no longer ruled. And after we had the Macedonian Alexander the Greek, we had the Ptolemies, and then around I think 50 BC we had the Roman. So here we have Cleopatra, and then here that's the beginning of the Christian era. So Christ, if he exists, it starts here, and we can see all the story, all the history, and all the artifacts that were there before. All right. So there's still a lot more to see and go through it, some other time. Um, I'm not sure I will live stream tomorrow, but I hope there will be more participation the next time I'm live streaming. But it was all good. There was still some exchange. But brothers and sisters are so shy, even in the chat. But it's all good. So I'm gonna have some rest. I'm working tomorrow. I do work the 9 to 5. I'm not being paid for spreading nonsense. So stay safe, stay healthy. And if I'm allowed to by the next channel, I will definitely holler back at your hotel. Now, for the record, for those who don't know, I'm giving Medu Nature classes. And here, that's the flyer. Okay? So, those who are interested, feel free to holler at me. If you're not interested, it's cool. But I recommend that everybody who has not yet seen the video Kemet and Maat before Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, then watch it. It has about 300,000 views and really deserves to have a lot more. I just want to let everyone know who's listening in now and who's going to listen to this stream in the future. I just had my first Meta Nature class by Brother Shaka today, and I've had other Meta Nature lessons by other teachers, and I can tell you right now, the brother is the best in the game. He is that was one of the best classes I've ever had ever. So if you're interested in learning the Meta Nature, if you're interested in getting the basics of it, Brother Shaka is an awesome teacher. Get with him, and it's extremely affordable. This brother is giving us his time and his skills, and he's basically giving it away. I mean, I just consider it a donation. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody is interested in learning the Meta Nature, get with this brother right here. He's an awesome, awesome, awesome teacher. And I'll end with that.
Hotep Senu, Hena Senut. This is Julie, also known as Servant of Yah, and I'm currently taking the Medu Nature classes with Brother Shaka, and it has been an amazing experience. Only 2 lessons so far, and I feel like I've been taking the classes for months, just with the how in depth he goes into the vocabulary words, the construction of the language, the grammar. It's been immeasurable, the experience. And one thing that comes across, hands down, is his extreme passion for teaching this to anyone who is willing to learn and has an interest in learning. So I highly suggest, if you are interested, even a minimal interest, that you subscribe to the classes with Brother Shaka. It's such a nominal amount for how much you get. I know, like, our last class was over 2.5 hours. It felt like 2 minutes, but because that's how, involved you are in what he's teaching and how he teaches and how compassionate he is about what he teaches. Also, with sharing materials free of charge, no question, no doubt. It's just what he does. He doesn't have to, but he does. And so I just wanted to give a short testimonial about the class and the effectiveness of the class. And all of that is attested to how studied Brother Shaka is. So I highly recommend anyone with a minimal interest that you do sign up for the Medu class. Hotep.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, which is Maat Forever. Don't forget to watch the video entitled Kemet and Maat. Don't forget to share Kemet and Maat on my channel on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or other social media that you use. Email, text messages, you name it. Those who wish to donate can do so on paypal.me/maatforever.